Alright, so this is going to be another non-instructional video, replacing the screen on this MacBook Pro. This is a model A2159. I believe this is a 2019 model. I actually took this apart to do liquid damage repair. We're going to actually see if replacing the screen is going to fix it, because it turns on now. And it ports the screen or the image to an external monitor, but nothing comes on the display. So we're hoping that the display is going to be the issue and not something on the motherboard, but we'll find out once we get to this. If they're lucky though, actually repairing the logic board could possibly be cheaper, but we'll see if it's the screen first. Okay, anyways, I'm using a Pentalobe 1.2 or P5 screwdriver to remove all the screws from the bottom. Okay, and while you're removing these, you want to keep them in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. Actually, most of them are, so you don't want to mix them all up. I've had some people posting stuff in the comments because they didn't really watch through the whole video, so make sure you actually watch through the whole video and follow along, because I do give important instructions all throughout, so you don't want to just be skipping all over the place. Alright, this one technically isn't an instructional video. If you need one for replacing the screen, just let me know. I do have a video, or you can just search A2159 LCD replacement. It's been repaired. You'll find my other videos on it. But if you can't, just let me know and I can post a link in the comment section below. But again, this one isn't exactly a isn't exactly a tutorial, because in this video I'm mostly just going to be taking it apart. I'm not going to be really instructing or guiding as much what to do. I will mention some stuff just because, yeah, a lot of it I'm not gonna really be mentioning. Okay, I'm switching over to a T5 now, or Torx 5, and we're gonna actually disconnect the battery. This is very important. Okay, I've had some people that said they replaced the screen without removing the battery connector, and they fried their stuff. So yeah, this is very important. Okay, a lot of people, again, if you're skipping through the video and you don't see this, don't blame me. But yeah, I always tell people, press and hold the power button 15 seconds, drain any residual power. Again, very important. You don't want to skip over this step. If you want to try and save like a few seconds with risking your entire motherboard, go ahead and do it. But no, why would you save 20 seconds to risk blowing up your entire computer? All right, anyways, we're gonna stick with the T5. I did bend that metal tab up again. If you need better instructions on how to do this, I do have a video showing that. Okay, so you might want to watch that one, because this one I'm kind of just going through and doing everything relatively quickly. Okay, alright, I'm not doing this as fast as I can, because sometimes if you go too fast you kind of make some sloppy mistakes. But yeah, this repair, if you do it relatively quickly, it takes, if you're decent at it, it takes about half an hour or so. Okay, there we go. Removed all the T5s. We're going to switch over now to a T3 or Torx 3. I'm going to remove all this stuff. If you watch my other videos, I actually do a lot of zooming in to show close up what you're doing and things like that. Okay, so again, if you want a good tutorial, I have other videos showing that. This video is more for documentation purposes, because sometimes customers ask me what I did with their computer, and then I have these videos to show them, so it's actually quite nice. Alright, that way they know exactly what I did with their device. I didn't do any weird stuff, or I'm not really making up what I had to do or how long it took, things like that. They know exactly what I did, how long it took, and everything like that. Okay, moving all these screws, remove this metal plate. Okay, we'll remove these as well. The screws on these are a little bit longer. Okay, remove that piece. We got these two here. You also want to check the replacement screen if it has these metal bars on it to cover those cables. If it doesn't, then you're going to want to transfer those over. Right, these screws are even longer, so if you happen to mix them up, hopefully you'll be able to get them back in the right order. Also, when you turn the screw, you want to do it slowly, okay? So when you go to turn the screw, you want to go slowly initially to make sure that the screwdriver is gripping it properly. If your screwdriver is slipping, you don't want to keep turning because that'll strip the screw, all right? And if you strip the screw, then good luck getting it out. All right, we're gonna pop this cable out. I'm holding this board down. All right, and I took this out before and I didn't see any liquid damage in here, which is why I'm thinking there isn't liquid damage, but we'll find out once we get everything out. We're gonna now switch over to a P2 or pentalobe 0.8 screwdriver and remove all these screws holding down the wireless antenna. Okay, it's a lot of screws. Again, hopefully you guys are keeping them all in order. Again, they are different size, shape, and lengths, and you don't want to put the wrong screws in the wrong place, because if you do, again, you can damage your computer. I've had some people recently were saying make sure you use the right length screws or check the length of the screws, because they put the wrong screws, like ones that are too long, in a short hole and it poked through the case. All right, and yeah, you don't want to end up in that situation. So especially if you're working on someone else's computer. If you're working on your own and you screw it up, then that's all on you. But if you're working on someone else's, then you're going to be blamed and you're going to have to get them new stuff. So very important. I always keep all the same screws in the same place because I don't want to cause any damage like that. Okay. It makes it quicker to throw them all in a bucket, but that's not a good idea. Maybe I should show you guys how I do the screws so that you can kind of get an idea. I mean, you don't have to lay it out in the exact pattern, but I'll show you what helps me remember. But anyways, let's go ahead and pop the wireless antennas out first. I think we already got all of this, right? Yep, okay. So we got all of that. I'm going to now pop up the wireless antennas here. Oh, why is this stuck? Did the liquid... Oh wow, the liquid made it stuck. Okay, so we're going to go towards the center of the air vent holes to kind of pull the wireless antennas up. It is held down with some little kind of like friction clips. Okay, there we go. Pop that up. And we're going to thread this wireless antenna cable through. Carefully rotate this to get those out. Just like that. And here are the little clips that I'm talking about. Those little dimples kind of grip into a little slot down there. Okay, so we're pretty much done. We just have to get the screen screws out. And let me actually show you how I have the screws right now. So the screws I put like this. So here you can see exactly, you should be able to tell what came from where. Bottom cover, battery screw, the board with the wireless antenna, those cables for the LCD LVS, and then those two screws for those little spring-loaded things, and those for the wireless antenna. So you can see, if you do it right, if you follow my instructions, if you keep everything in order, it'll be a lot easier. Even if you come back to the project like days later, you should be able to figure out what came from where. Anyways, let's go ahead and start doing the screen thing. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna open the screen all the way. All right. So the thing with when I repair these, there are some times where I'll take it apart and then I need to wait days because I didn't realize I needed a part. And because of the way I lay out the screws and everything, it makes it easy to go back to the project and get it done right. The only thing with that is then you kind of need space to put everything because there are a lot of parts, there are a lot of components, and yeah, if you mix them up, it makes it kind of tough. So if you're just working on your own computer, it makes it easier. If you're working on like 10, 20, whatever computers, it makes it like you need a lot of place to put this. I actually designed some magnetic trays that are specifically made for this kind of thing, which helps a lot with the screw management. I rarely use it because unless I know that I'm going to be leaving the stuff for a long time. But yeah, it helps a lot. All right, once you get all those screws out, again, I open the screen all the way. Now I drop it to 90 degrees, and then we can lift the screen out. And I don't see, oh, okay, there is some liquid on this board there. You can see there's some liquid damage there. So if we're lucky, that's the problem, and this will solve it. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, I'm gonna open up the replacement screen here. Okay, gotta cut this thing open. Oh, they used one of those kind of tabs, man. I don't like these. How am I gonna cut this open? Okay. Okay, there we go. Cut the box open. Oh, they packaged this one differently than all the other ones that I've been getting from them. So we got the screen, looks like this. Okay, we're gonna set the box aside. Okay. All right, let's hope it's the screen, because if it is, that'll be awesome. All right. Go. Let's pop this out. There's that. Okay, so as you can see, it doesn't have those metal plates over the cables, so I am going to have to remove those from the other screen. We're going to remove this tape here. Make sure to hold this board down when you peel the tape up. Okay. And I'm just going to stick that there. Okay. Let me actually remove the metal plates from the other screen real quick, because I'm going to need those. Actually, we'll sit this in place first. Okay. You want to make sure the hinges are open all the way. If they aren't and you can't do it by hand, you can use the screwdriver, the T8, Torx 8, to put through there, and you can use that to rotate it. Basically get the screwdriver in there and just pull it up like that. Okay. All right, next thing we're going to do, we're going to slot this back in, of course. Okay, so we're going to hold this over the edge. And when you hold these cables, you want to pull them out as far as they'll go. All right, make sure and hold them up. You don't want to have any of the excess slack laying along the screen. Okay. All right, I think I have to move the thing a bit more. There we go. Okay, there we go. Drop that in. Make sure these cables are out all the way. Sometimes these spring-loaded ones, the cable isn't going far enough, and then this won't reach. Let's see. Uh-oh. This one actually, the cable might not be able to reach even with making sure. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, make sure you pull the spring-loaded thing all the way. Okay, some of these, there's like excess slack that gets tucked backwards. Oh, this cable actually disconnected itself, so I'm gonna have to attach that. Okay, and make sure that reaches. Okay, looks good. All right, next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna get these 3 screws in. Well, I'm actually just gonna put the ones closest to the center first, and we're not gonna tighten them too much because we need to make sure that they're completely aligned before we tighten everything down. Okay, so get this in. All right, there we go. Now what we're gonna do, lay the back of the screen on the table and slowly, carefully close this. Again, you want to do this very slowly. And you can actually see this isn't really aligned right. So I'm gonna fix that by loosening these 2 screws. And hopefully it will let me align it. Sometimes the hinges are just out of alignment a little bit, and oops, and then it won't align too well. Oh, I just knocked some stuff around, so I'm gonna have to rearrange it all back. Whoops. Okay. Move that out of the way. All right, so can we align this, or is it, I think the hinges are just aligned like that, so it's gonna have a slight, let me move it a tiny bit over. Yeah, but not completely. All right, well, the outer edges look aligned. So you want to make sure the outer edges are completely aligned. Once you get everything good, you can go ahead and tighten these down. Okay. I'll do the other side first. sure that's aligned flush. Okay, there we go. Tighten that down, then tighten this down. Good. All right, now let's go ahead and tighten the rest. Usually with these, I'm gonna put red thread locker, but for testing, I'm not gonna do that yet. Okay. I'm slowing myself down. I'm explaining too much. I can't help it. It's a habit. Anyways, we're gonna get all these screws back in. Okay. Let's flip this over. All right, we gotta make sure all these cables are attached properly. This one popped itself out, so you gotta line it back up and click it back into place. Okay. It's a little tricky to find the alignment, but these kinds of cables, they just snap on top. People call them like Lego connectors. Here we go. All right, let's go ahead and get back in the spring-loaded ones. So these you gotta kind of twist over and then hold them into place, and while you're holding it in place, tighten that down. All right, get the other one. Same thing, make sure it's in place and tighten that down. Okay, other one. Hold that in place and tighten that into place. Other one. Alright, whether this replacement screen fixes the problem or not, I'll end the video afterwards. Because then I'm just going to be taking it back out so I can return the screen, so you don't really need to watch that process. Okay, so we're going to get this cable over there. We're going to get the wireless antennas back into place. Just guide it back in like before. Okay, kind of have to do that rotation trick. Go. Hold these edges in place and then push the middle down. Make sure it holds in. You'll know because if you try and lift it back out, it doesn't come out easily. It will kind of stay there. All right, there we go. Let's get all the wireless antenna screws back in. Just like that. And usually what I'll do is I'll do like the outermost ones first. Oops, one. Okay, so just like this. Get the outermost ones in first, and then that way I can just go along and put all those screws back without having to worry about holding it in place. Just like that. I might have knocked one screw out of place. All right, then we're gonna get these. Yeah, I think I knocked one somewhere. I'm gonna have to find it. These screws are so tiny. Okay, hold that in place. Get that in. All right, hold that in. that in. All right, let me see. Oh, there it is. It was camouflaging. Okay. Just like that. Let me fix the screws that I took out here. Okay, so we got the wireless antennas in. Next, we're gonna have to get this board in. I'm gonna switch back over to the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. Oops. Okay, and I'm gonna loosely fit these screws first. Right, and the reason I do that is so I can make sure everything is aligned. So you can see I just put that in loosely, and the board actually can still move. Okay, just like that. Right. Alright, let's get the wireless antennas in. Again, this isn't exactly a tutorial video, so if you want better camera angles, close-ups, things like that, I have another video where I show that. Maybe I should turn that into like a Patreon thing where I kind of do non-close-up. Nah, I'd feel bad. I don't like forcing people to pay for content like that, even if there is a huge value behind it, but I let people decide how much my work is worth to them a lot of the time, at least through YouTube. Alright, anyways, we're gonna pull this down and then push this into place. This cable's always a bit tricky. There we go. That in. Alright, let's get these all in. Alright. Go. Alright, let's see. Let's go ahead and put these plastic things back in. Normally for testing I wouldn't do all of this, but I'm gonna do it anyways, because if this doesn't work I'm gonna have to take it all back out, which is gonna kind of suck. But Might as well make sure everything's good. Did I put that in wrong? Yeah, it's a little uneven. Let me fix that. There we go. Yeah, see, so it basically takes about 30 minutes or so. If I went as quick as possible, I could possibly get it done in under 25 and possibly around 20 minutes. But yeah, I'd rather make sure everything's good. All right, done with the T3, switch back to the T5. Let me actually, oops, I should still use the T3 because I need to transfer the little metal things over from this one. Okay. So this one, they didn't transfer that, so I'm using it this way. Take these out. A lot of times the cable will actually come with these metal plates so you don't have to transfer them over. But every so often, I don't know why, but they don't. Alright, there we go. Now we can set the screen aside. Let's grab this. Make sure everything's lined up. Usually what I do is I'll get the screen or this piece in place, but I'll just loosely fit it. Okay, like that, and then that way you can kind of spring this around and move it around. Just like that. There we go. Same thing with the other side. Go. Now we can switch back to the T5, reconnect the battery, and test everything. Alright, let's get this in place. Come on, get in there, cable. There we go. Then slide our finger over to latch it down. Oh, what's this plastic coming out? There we go. Alright, get this thing back in place, and let's hope the thing turns on. I'm gonna just snap the cover on for testing. I'll put it back the right way once I've confirmed. Open this up. Shouldn't turn on until I plug it in, but in some rare cases it does. But yeah, it's not clicking, so let's plug this in. It should start clicking soon. There you go, trackpad is clicking. I'm gonna hold the option key just in case, so it doesn't boot to the operating system. And the screen is working, so looks like we got a fully repaired MacBook Pro, and I booted to that. So I'm gonna close this, flip it back over. Let's go ahead and put the cover on right. Actually, what I want to do, I'm gonna put the thread locker on the screws just so they don't come loose over time. These little things usually kind of help with that. But I'm gonna do it anyways, and I like to add a little thread locker to make sure the screws remain firm in place and don't move around. Okay, so we'll take these little plastic cover thingies back off. Yeah, now I made the repair take over half an hour. Okay, we're gonna get the T8 back and get some red thread locker. And we're gonna do one screw at a time. Take this one out. And we'll get a little thread locker on this. Oh no, there's a little blockage in my thread locker container. Okay, and I put barely any, if you're wondering, not even a drop. I just barely touch a little bit to it, and that adds a little bit more stiffness to the hold of the screws to prevent them from slowly twisting themselves out. Doesn't happen as often on Macs, but it does still happen. It's more common in the ones where the screw mounts are plastic, because the plastic flexes more and that causes them to slowly work their way out. All right, there we go. I'm gonna do this on all 6. If you're doing this like I'm doing, be very careful you don't drop a screw inside the MacBook. Okay, it's very important because the MacBook does have power to it now. All right, the battery is no longer disconnected and drained, so you don't want to drop the screws or the screwdriver or anything inside the MacBook. Okay, perfect. Make sure it's tightened all the way. Last screw. There we go. Let's go ahead now and put this back together. Okay, back to the T3. Put these little plastic covers back in. Go. Okay, let's go ahead and get the bottom cover on. We got to start slightly back, align the edge, and then slide it up. Okay, holding down here, slide that into place. Go at an angle this one, slide that up, and we'll slide this one more time and check this one more time. Okay, make sure the edges look good. It's a little bit to one side, so I'm going to slide it over more. There we go. Click everything in and get back the pentalobe 1.2 P5 screws. We should be good to go. Alright, and I'm going to have to turn it on completely for the customer, send them a picture, show them it's working. Alright, usually I'll also send them this video if they want to see. Okay. Alright, and there we go. That's pretty much all there is to it. Usually I also do a PRAM and SMC reset once replacing all those components if the model allows me to, but some of these don't. Command Option Shift, power button, yeah, it doesn't do it. We can do the PRAM reset most likely, which is you hold the power, or make sure the computer's off, turn it on, Command Option PNR on boot, and usually you'll see the screen go on and then shut back off. If you don't, then I just keep holding it for a long time. I think these models, they end up just, oh, there you go, I saw the Apple and then it shut off. Then you can go ahead and let go, and it should power cycle itself again to show the Apple one more time, and that's how you know you did the PRAM reset. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. Again, this isn't really a tutorial video, so if you want one of those, just let me know, and I'll send you a link for that. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Let's drop this. Bye.